What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Ready Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. We got a great show planned for you guys this evening. We're bringing you a bit of a dual show. We're going to be recapping the 49ers 30-13 win versus the New England Patriots and previewing their Week 5 matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals. Before I toss it over to my guys, if you're watching on X, make sure you like and repost the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit like and subscribe and drop your thoughts in the chat. Make sure you go to both channels, Nothing But Niners and 49ers Hive. Show some love to both because we really appreciate we do a lot of good work, both channels. So go show some love. Now that I got that out of the way, it is hot over here. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, it's hot where I'm at too, but I'm doing well, man. Playoff baseball's here. That's fun. Went and saw Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins last week. That was fun. So all around, I'm having a good time, man. And we got the dub on Sunday, and that's probably the best of all. So let's go.
Exactly. Mike, how you doing?
I am fantastic, and I am not envious of what you guys are going through, man. It is fall season over here. As you guys can see, I got my hoodie on. This is my favorite time of the year. Give me high 50s, mid 60s, and man, oh man, I am in heaven. So I'm loving it, man. I'm glad to be back with you guys too. So this is gonna be good.
I think it's something about being a bigger guy. You could really just appreciate the cooler weather. And because it's not every day that guys like us get to wear sweaters and jackets and layers, and we're always running hot. Yep. So when you get to the cool weather, you got to really take advantage. Yep. With that said, it was 100 degrees here today. So
100 degrees where you're at, 101 where I was at.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah. It's like the summer's last dying breath before we get into the cool weather. So But all right, guys, fall is here. We are officially in October. It's my brother Joseph's birthday. Happy birthday, Joseph.
Happy birthday, Joseph.
First of October, man. But we got a great show planned for you guys, like I said. So the 49ers finally got back on the winning track. It is amazing how much a win can help. They are now 2-2 after they defeated the New England Patriots 30-13. We're going to do a little bit more of a condensed recap of this game so we make sure we have enough time to get into the Cardinals preview. But I'll just start very generally, Matt. What did you think of the 49ers start to this game?
Yeah, a little sloppy at times. Opportunities to sloppy by the offense, I should say. Opportunities to get a lot of points. First two drives that they had, they came away with field goals. So I think that frustrated a lot of us watching the game. It's like, man, these are the type of plays, these are the type of drives when you should get 7 and you only get 3 that are going to let bad teams hang around. A couple of penalties, a couple of mistakes, a couple of, mistimings here and there, and that's all it takes to let a bad team hang around way too long. And then once that happens, you never know. So a little bit of a rough start, but it got going later.
Exactly. And we were all saying that during the game that, dang, the 49ers had some prime opportunities. I'll kick it to Mike in a bit, but they start on defense, win the coin toss, they defer. The Patriots get 2 first downs. One, I think it's 2, it could have been 3, but they do get the stop right at midfield and at 4th and 3 at the Niners 41-yard line. The Patriots, who don't really have much to lose, try and get the hard count for the Niners to jump. The Niners don't jump, and they end up punting. Mike, the 49ers get the ball at the 7 and proceed to go 90 yards and then stall out and settle for a field goal. This kind of started a lot of controversy online. 4th and goal from the 3, and the 49ers kick a field goal. Like it, don't like it, Mr. Analytics. That's not your nickname, but I'm giving you that right now. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, no, so I was not a fan of it. I wasn't mad at it. If it was like, this is going to sound so bad. You shouldn't say this about any NFL team, but if it was like a good opponent and points you think are going to be at a premium, then you take it, right? But this is our get-right game. This was supposed to be the game that we work out the kinks. Let's work out some of these goal line deficiencies, our inefficiencies down there in the red zone that have been biting us this season. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we should have kind of gone after it a little bit more. But, it wasn't for lack of effort. I mean, like you said, they drove 90 yards down the field or something like that and stalled on the So it wasn't terrible at all by any stretch of the imagination. I just want us to, be a little bit better, but we turned things around. So
by the way, we got a fat super chat from our guy Sean. You're the best, Sean. What's up, Beaches? Get ready. I've just been busy. Hey, all of you, support financially if you can. That being said, I'll give 20 blank in a minute for who they select to comment.
For who?
Okay. They work out a pleasure for us. Missed my birthday the 27th. Thanks, Mike. It was just your birthday. You have the same birthday.
Happy birthday, Sean.
Yeah, Ashley, my fiance. So happy birthday. That was a Friday. You guys had a Friday birthday this year, so that's nice.
I was driving to the funeral. I was going to say, I didn't text Sean on his birthday. I thought I did. I even have it in my phone. Oh, I guess I missed it. Sorry, buddy.
We're saying it now. Happy birthday. Happy belated.
Happy birthday.
Hope you had a great birthday weekend and appreciate the continued support. Very much, very kind of you. They did go 90 yards, stall in the end zone. I think we were all a little surprised to see him kick the field goal because, like Mike said, it's kind of like, just do it. And I think just generally the kind of mindset is even if the 49ers don't get into the end zone on 4th and goal from the 3, do they trust the Patriots to drive the ball 97 yards? On the other hand, it's like, I wouldn't think so, but maybe they were just extremely cautious. I
will say that early in the game, specifically to what you're saying now, if the Patriots stopped us at home on 4th down, you never quite know what could be a spark for them, right?
Sure.
Like Kyle surprised us, and we'll talk about it later on. So maybe they come out like that, very aggressive, and take a shot right away. Like, oh, we got our opportunity, let's do it. So
good point.
Who knows?
And to be fair, 2 weeks ago in Minnesota, Kyle went for it on 2 4th downs that he had opportunity to get points on. So, once you do that, maybe you take it the other way. And, the 49ers were only 1 of 3 on 4th downs in Minnesota. So he might have taken from that, take the points if you can, especially, against a team like the Patriots. And like Mike said, you got a bad team like that. 1, not only hang around because you're not kicking, you're not scoring touchdowns, but 2, potentially giving up any points whatsoever. I mean, you got to put them away.
Sean, very, very nice again. Says for the chat, $20 for the chat. Select 1 or 2 as a super. Thank you very much, Sean. Very kind of you. You're the man. Really appreciate it. They settle for the field goal. And then the very first play of the Patriots' ensuing drive, Sam Okuwanyu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I listened to it a million times. Okuwanyu forces a fumble on Ramondre Stevenson, and Malik Collins recovers it, giving the 49ers first down at the New England 30. 16-yard run by Jordan Mason. And a couple of plays later, it's 3rd and 4 at the New England 8-yard line. The Niners can get a first down without having to score. Purdy does a little bit of scrambling. He was under duress a lot more than I would have liked to have seen this day, given that it is the Patriots and not like the, Steelers or Vikings. And he throws a front corner shot to Debo a little late, and Christian Gonzalez broke it up. I think it was Christian Gonzalez. Could be wrong. Incomplete. So they have to settle for another field goal. And just like that, it's 6-0. And my mind went to, and it wasn't that type of game, but my mind just went to playing in Philly last year when the Eagles were dominating, but they only had 2 field goals to show for it. And on the 49ers' 3rd or 4th possession, they go and get a touchdown, and suddenly they're in the lead. And I'm like, oh my God, the 49ers cannot give this up to the Patriots. They didn't have to worry about that. They did not have to worry about that because Fred did the Thanos fine, I'll do it myself. And 3 plays into the next drive, this man does a Madden move and jumps about 45 feet into the air, plucks the ball out of the air, and he's not done. He returns it 45 yards to the house for a touchdown, and he dives in, lands on Jacoby, which is just kind of insult to injury. Lands on Jacoby. Now the 49ers are up 13-0, and it really was like my dad texted me. He said we took the lid off the end zone, and after that, the 49ers were able to find the end zone successfully. But that's just kind of the season Fred's having. I mean, would you guys – is it a stretch? Am I too much of a fan to say he's the leading defensive player of the year candidate right now? What do you guys think?
That Warner? No, That's not a stretch at all. He should be far and away the front runner.
Thank you.
PFF
Okay.
PFF has him overall rated as like I think his PFF rating is 95.9, which is the highest in the NFL.
4 games of 90 or above.
Yep. I mean, Fred has always played well. This year, he is balling at like an unforeseen level. He's taken his game to another level, and if he stays healthy, I mean, this might be Fred Warner's like apex year. You know, we always look back. You know, like 1992 Michael Jordan, or 2012 LeBron James, or 2017 or 2018, whichever one, Patrick Mahomes with the 50 touchdown pass, 5,000 yard season. You see an apex season that's the best of the best of the best out of that player. This so far is looking like it might be Fred's. So take advantage of that. Enjoy it while we can, because it's a sight to behold for sure.
Yeah. And just, we talked about this previously, but just have to add, just like the Packers have been blessed with Favre to Rodgers, and now I'm not crowning Jordan Love yet. He certainly looks appealing, and he looks like he has the capability to be a good quarterback. The Niners have done that with linebackers. I mean, Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman, they had Chris Borland for a little bit, now to Fred Warner. It's like, no matter what era they're in, who's their head coach, they're able to find somebody who's competing for the best linebacker in the league. And Fred Warner is certainly that. I'm just going to say it. Everybody was saying, no, it's Roquan. Well, you took Patrick Queen away from Roquan. He's not looking so great. You took Dre Greenlaw away from Fred. He's looking even better. So it really is impressive what Fred has been able to do with a depleted surrounding cast, at least immediately depleted. He's playing out there with Devontae Campbell, D. Winters, young guys or older guys, and he's still looking amazing. So, like I said, 49ers are up 13-0, and then they get a Patriots drive that does actually gain some distance. They go 11 plays for 50 yards. They go all the way from the 30 to the 49ers 20. But fourth and 1 at the 20, and who else but Fred Warner stuffs Ramondre Stevenson in the hole for no gain, get a turnover on downs. 49ers get the ball back with 8 minutes left in the second quarter on their own 20-yard line, and this is where the offense kind of first came to life. Purdy hits Kittle for 11. Then he gets sacked, but then he hits Jawan for 32 yards. Beautiful ball, short run. This was the most frustrating drive now that I'm reading it. It just brought me back to that spot. Brock Purdy hits Mason, who, by the way, looked like a great route runner this day. Hits Mason, who catches and runs for 38 yards for a touchdown, and the most bogus holding penalty I've ever seen.
You'll ever see.
Gets called on George Kittle. No, and not only that, the ref pegs Mason with the flag. Hits him right in the neck. Insult to injury again. So, okay. Bring it back. So the holding penalty is from the spot of the foul. So it's 1st and 10 from the New England 24. Garendo didn't look so great. No gain. Purdy hits Juice for 12 yards. 1st and 10 from the 12 now. Mason 5-yard run. And then Purdy's dancing around for his life. Turns, points, finds Juszczyk open right in the beginning of the end zone.
Touchdown, baby.
Touchdown. But an illegal
so
shift. An illegal shift on the 49ers negates the second touchdown pass of this drive. I've seen a legal shift called this year, probably more than the last 5 years combined. And the most frustrating thing is that everybody was set. Everybody was set. There was nobody that wasn't set where you can kind of be like, everybody was set. Sean, our guy, sends another $20. Thank you very much, Sean. I know he's highlighting the chat for other guys to be able to use this $20 for their super chat. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. So go ahead.
No, I think that Jerry Cena comment where you guys were talking about praising Fred, like once he loses his counterpart, that one was worth bringing up there, right? Reminds me of Bowman when Willis was out. I remember the first time this happened, and I was like, oh man, what's going to happen? What are we going to look like? And Bowman just went crazy for the next 2 or 3 games. Like it was like, we really got something here. Like that's when you knew like Bowman was on Willis's level at that point in time. So it was pretty cool. Now it's not that Fred's on anyone else's level. He's on his own, but it was pretty cool to see like when the number 1 went down, someone step up, right? So the number 2 guy has been down all season, and Fred is not missing a beat at all. He's having the best season so far of his career.
100%.
Yep.
So we get the second touchdown pass nullified, and then Purdy, incomplete pass on 2nd and 10. And then on 3rd and 10, Purdy finds George Kittle for one of the most amazing toe tap catches you're going to see in triple coverage. Purdy throws it only where Kittle can get it. Kittle brings it down. And when I watched this game, it really just reminded me of, or maybe solidified the fact that at some point players just need to make plays. And if Kittle's out and if it's Saubert in, I don't think that play gets made. But because the 49ers had Kittle, like they didn't have him last week, they had him this week, he's able to go up and above and make that play. So it was just really cool to see.
More importantly, not only does Saubert not make that play, I don't think Brock makes that throw.
Good point.
You know, I don't think the trust is there to do that. But like you said, he put it up where Kittle could go up for it. And that's what Kittle does. That's what a lot of these excellent players do. And that instills confidence in your quarterback to, you know, hey, I'm going to let him make a play on the ball because that's how good I think he is.
Great point.
Go ahead, Mike.
That throw by Purdy. I myself was pretty critical of it. Like, oh my God, he's throwing in a triple coverage touchdown. Okay, it was like one of those. No. Okay, never mind, do it. But then when you watch the replay, every defender had his back to Purdy, so none of them could really make a play on the ball. They didn't know where the ball was going to be. It was up for grabs for Kittle. Unlike the one that he throws later on, I'm sure we'll get to. But you know, this one was the right decision at that time.
Rodney, I promise you we're going to get to this topic in a bit. Please,
we'll bring it back up later.
Yes, sir. We're just not going to. I'm trying to say it in the sequential order of things, but I'm not ignoring you. Thank you for your super chat, my man. We really appreciate it. Okay, great touchdown pass, and all of a sudden it's 20-0. Patriots go 3 and out. 49ers go 3 and out, and then the Patriots get a field goal right before half. I was a little critical of Kyle, and then I kind of got shit for it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, for not running the ball on 3rd and 8 with 50 seconds left. And I'm thinking if the Patriots get a touchdown here, you know, it's suddenly a 13-point game going to half. Luckily for me, there wasn't an issue. They did get a field goal, but it really wasn't anything. So go into half, and then the opening play of the second half, the 49ers are up 20-3. Isaac Correndo takes it out. Go ahead, please.
Can we talk about the last drive by the Patriots? This is now 2 games, maybe 3 games in a row, where the Niners just can't stop a team. It's 2-minute drill heading into halftime. I think that's something that we kind of should point out. The Niners don't really have it this year. I don't know what it is about the defense. It's like they're good except for situational football. And that could be the Sorensen effect or something. I don't know. But they don't seem to be doing well when it's time to stop these teams from scoring at the end of the half and the fourth quarters.
This is a huge, huge asterisk because they got the ball at the 49ers 39. Am I reading this correctly? Yeah, so the 49ers punted because we punted from our own 8. And it was a 42-yard punt. The Patriots had the ball at our 39-yard line after a 9-yard return. So this was the sequence of plays that the Patriots had after they got the ball after our 3 and out. 1st and goal, incomplete pass. Or excuse me, 1st and 10 from the 39 of the Niners, incomplete. 2nd and 10 from the 39ers, incomplete. And actually, Brissett gets sacked for a minus 12-yard loss. 3rd and 22. Hasty run for 6 yards, and then 4th and 16 from the 49ers 45. Joey Sly hits a 63-yard field goal. In my opinion, you're just going to live with kickers hitting 63-yard field goals. I don't think this is too much on the Niners, in my opinion. Last week, yes. This week, I wouldn't put so much on him.
I don't know. If Joey Sly misses that 63-yarder, maybe we need to talk about him being a bum. It was only 8 yards longer than the one that Moody missed last week, so you know. And
this was the
chip
longest
shot, baby.
field goal.
Chip shot.
This was the longest field goal made in Levi's history, just by the way. So it wasn't like it was something that the Niners were like worried about, if I'm being honest about it.
This was tied with David Akers, correct? So David Akers hit a 63-yarder against
not in Packers. Levi's. He never played at Levi's, did he?
David Akers? Yeah, he did.
I thought David Akers was during the Harbaugh years.
That's what Harbaugh was, I think, the first year of Levi's.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember Brandon
Yeah,
Marshall
they
coming in and
opened it
whooping
up.
us.
Let's see.
Because I remember them saying that Levi's was the house that.
Oh,
Harbaugh
you know
built.
what? You know what? It was at Green Bay. So I stand corrected.
Okay.
There you go.
It was during the Levi year. No, it wasn't even during the Levi year. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's 2011.
Yeah. But that, Mike, to your point, though, that's why I was like, if you just hand off the ball, I think the Patriots only had one timeout before their last drive. You would have forced them to call that timeout if they wanted to try and get any points going into half. Instead, Kyle passes the ball, falls incomplete, stops the clock with 50 seconds, and they were able to gain a couple of yards back after the sack to get a field goal. And a more talented team in a closer game, maybe that's the difference. I mean, last week they lost by 3, so maybe that's the difference between winning and losing. I don't know. I agree with the chat. Wasn't great clock management, but it didn't ultimately affect this game. Now, like I said, back to the opening play of the third quarter, Isaac Guerrero takes the ball out. In his defense, at least it wasn't a Debo decision where it was 6 yards deep in the end zone. This was at least at the 3. He had to take it out. But he decides to run into Eric Saubert's back for some reason and fumbles the ball on his own. Patriots recover. And, I mean, before we even get into the Patriots drive, what's the decision-making here? Isaac Guerrero, is he going straight to the doghouse? I mean, that was an unforced error. I think that's like a baseball stat, isn't it? But that was one on Guerrero.
That's the second special teams fumble.
Yeah.
You don't want to see that. At least with Cowings, it was like he missed it on the catch. You know what I mean? Right. This one, this is adjacent to the Mark Sanchez butt fumble. He just ran into the dude. I was just like, ooh. And Mike, I know there was a question about this on returns after this, specifically punt returns, but part of me is just like, this is bad, man. Like you can't use him on returns anymore, and they didn't have him in on returns for the rest of the game.
Nope.
It's bad field vision. It's bad, all the way around, and it really hampered the 49ers. And this was a moment where I know all of us were just like, damn, they're really going to let these guys get back into this game, aren't they? And, fortunately, the rest of the team was able to kind of like pick themselves up and move on from there. But this was not great, man. This was a bad look. And it's like, this is how Guerrero, as a 5th round pick, this is how you get cut, man. This is how you don't get playing time. And then nobody knows your name in 2 years. And all of a sudden you're not on the 49ers anymore. These type of things, it's, you don't count the plays that you are on the field. Make the plays that you're on the field count. And Isaac Guerrero was not doing that.
What was the running back that Kyle took his first or second year here? Joe
Williams. Yep.
You could be the very next Joe Williams if you keep this shit up.
Very well could be.
Yeah.
And Joe Williams was a quitter, man. And that's to me, he was undraftable for that. I'm not, Guerrero's not a quitter, obviously, but if
Lynch
you
felt the same way, by the way.
If you don't quit fumbling the ball, then
the ball gonna quit you.
Yep, exactly.
We got another huge super chat from our guy Sean. Sean, you're going crazy. You are on fire tonight, dude. Thank you. He says 50 spot. Jennings is the best of the 3, just slow. Ayuk never had any film from 2 small schools that came close to Jennings. No, show the tape. Ayuk is average at best. Jennings is a dog. No. Show me the college tape and pro. Jennings outshined both.
Pretty sure Ayuk leads the NFL in separation per route, but
I think what we saw Sunday was classic Bill Belichick. His ghost must have been in those meetings because they said, we don't give a shit what you do. This man's not catching shit. And I think he had 2 catches. He had to catch the first drive for 38 yards, something like that. And then he had maybe one more later. But they just took him away from the game, which is fine.
He still had, on those 2 catches, he still had 48 yards receiving.
Yeah, right.
So 24 per catch is nothing to sneeze at. You know what I mean? It's just second week in a row that Juwan Jennings got some shine. So not to take away from Jennings, of course.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I think it speaks more to Juwan than it does about Ayuk.
Yeah.
Juwan has already surpassed last season's total.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it also speaks to the fact that we have a real number 1 wide receiver now. I know that it's not going to look like that statistically, right? But when teams are planning to take that guy away, when the Niners say, hey, we're going to make you a $30 million guy, and teams say, oh, if that's your guy, we're going to make sure he's not the one that beats us. This is what Juwan Jennings and any of the other guys are supposed to be doing. They're supposed to step up when they're doubling that guy, bracketing that guy, or putting their best corner on that guy. So this is what football is supposed to look like. This is exactly what it's supposed to look like. There's a reason we've always fallen in love with the third wide receivers on this team.
Not only do we have a number one wide receiver, but dare I say it, do we have an elite quarterback?
Certainly looks like it. Certainly looks like it.
He is elite. I'll just spoil it for you. He's elite.
Thank you again, Sean. We really appreciate it. Okay, so after the 49ers fumble the ball, the Patriots recover, and they're already at the 49ers 27-yard line. Stevenson runs up the gut for 13 yards. Another run for 3 yards. Another run for 2 yards. And then Brissett on 3rd and 5 from the 49ers 9 finds Hunter Henry for 4, setting up at 4th and 1 from the 5. Brissett rolls to his left and finds a wide open Austin Hooper in the flat for a touchdown. Just like that, it's 10-20. It was a 20-0 game like 5 minutes ago, football time. 10-point game out of nowhere. The Patriots cut it in half. Field goal before halftime, and then first drive, thanks to a fumble, a touchdown. And I'm thinking, shit. Here we go, man. Here we go. Another replay, another meltdown. I'm going to have to see all this shit again about the Niners and a 10-point lead. I already saw Grant Cohn doing Grant Cohnian things. The 49ers now have a 10-point lead, the same amount they had with X amount of time left in the Super Bowl. I'm like, damn, he just won't let that shit go. But the 49ers let it go, and they proceeded to go 4 plays, 70 yards that ended in a touchdown. Purdy hits Debo. First play on the drive after the touchdown they gave up. 53-yard pass to Debo Samuel where he could not have put it in a better spot. I mean, he basically airmailed that ball right into his breast pocket. It was a perfect throw. And Debo's not known for these passes. I've seen people talking about in practice. They do the go route with Debo at least once practice. He never catches it. It's never caught because he's not that type of receiver. Great pass from Purdy.
He almost dropped this one too, by the way, if you saw it.
Almost, yeah.
Almost. By the way, people are going to criticize Brock Purdy for not getting him like the ball out one more stride out in front on a pass that I think was 53 yards in the air.
53 yards.
And I'm like, y'all are nitpicking now. Like the most picking of nits that you could actually do. So, yeah.
So great play, great pass. And then 2 plays later, we get a holding, but Mason had ran up 13 yards. First and goal at the 4. Mason punches it in. Just like that, it's back to a 17-point lead, 27-10. Trade a couple of punts. Patriots get a field goal, 13-27. And then the 49ers drive 3 plays, 47 yards. That includes a deep pass to Juwan for 45 yards. But then unfortunately, 3 plays later, Purdy goes for Ayuk in the end zone. I just think he did not see Jabril Peppers at all, and Jabril Peppers picks him.
To me, that was a I'm feeling myself type of throw.
Heat check.
That was Brock Purdy. That was just like, hey, let me. I know I probably shouldn't, but let me go off let me cook for a second. Right. And he was like, oh shit, flame too high. Let me turn that back down.
Yeah. My bad.
Because he tightened it up immediately after that. Like he was very safe after that. But yeah, that one, especially after. Listen, this was a game where Brock Purdy at one point had, I think, 9 completions and 199 yards passing.
Yeah.
So like he was cooking. He was pushing the ball down the field. Like we said, sweet pass to Jennings, sweet pass to Kittle, sweet pass to Debo. This one, he was just like, fuck it. Like that was one of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. We got another super chat from our guy, Gray Fox 198. Thank you. This is from Matt, from a Mariners fan. Yeah, I know, pathetic. I hope your Padres go all the way, and as always, go Niners.
Wow.
Listen, appreciate it. You know, I don't know, man. The Mariners were like they were like right there. So they weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just think that, you know, it got tough. It got tough for them. You know, you missed out by 1 game. It's tough. It's like last year was a down year for the Padres. You guys will get there. But I am hoping this team feels special. I don't know. Anybody who doesn't follow baseball, the Padres owner, who had brought them from being a team that didn't spend any money, being a team that was traditionally a laughingstock in Major League Baseball. He started spending money. He brought a vibe. He passed away from cancer last November. And so this season has just felt like an homage to Peter Seidler, the late Padres owner. And, every now and again, you capture some magic. They won 4-0 tonight over the Braves, their first wild card game, and I'm just enjoying the ride because it's a special season for the Padres. So thank you for that, Gray Fox, for sure.
That's nice. That's nice. All right.
Yeah.
So interception, but the 49ers get the stop 7 plays later on downs yet again. Incomplete pass, which it kind of looked like it was a great play by Jalen Polk down the sideline. It's like a 30-yard, 40-yard pass, and he would have gotten his second foot down if he had tapped it, but he didn't, and I think his shoulder helmet area touched out of bounds. Jair Brown, I need to see you make this interception, man. You are standing there staring at the ball. You go up for it, and you let little Jalen Polk take it away from you somehow. So would like to see that out of Brown more. But, all right, turnover on downs. 49ers get the ball, 6 plays, 13 yards, already at the New England 36, and they get another field goal, 30-13. The next drive, Patriots go 5 plays, 54 yards, and on 3rd and 6, who else but Nick Bosa, who had been this close all day? He had gotten a couple of sacks that ended up being tackles because he was just beyond the line of scrimmage. Fumble or sack, forced fumble, and recovery.
Yep.
Trifecta, all by Nick Bosa, to which the 49ers were able to go 7 plays, 46 yards, and kneel it out in victory formation.
Real quick, because I feel like this is a good shout. I want to bring this up because my man, he called that. Look at that. He wore a hard shell over his helmet. Mm-hmm. Bubba Paris.
Wow, great call.
Helmet. I like that.
Yeah.
I love that good shout. Bubba Paris on those 1980s 49ers Super Bowl championships. I think he was on the Broncos and the Bengals one, right? 23 and 24.
There you go.
Yeah. Very cool.
He used to be at like all the local Walmarts around here.
Oh, cool.
And when my dad and I would go, he'd be there. The man is huge. I mean, his hand is probably the size of my head. It's insane. But all right, so like I said, the 49ers win this on victory formation, 30-13. We did see some youngsters get more looks. Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, D. Winters got the nod over guys like, Mustafa with Hufanga's injury made sense, but Isaac Yiadom got, I think, the lowest amount of snaps of any DBs. Renardo Green played more over him. And then D. Winters, I believe, played more than Devondre Campbell, if not very similar amounts. Are you guys happy to see this? Are you nervous about it? What's the feeling on the youngsters getting more time?
I saw Malik Mustafa on that Fred Warner interception pancake of Patriots offensive linemen, so I'm cool. He there's a couple of things that, I specifically remember a missed tackle that he had, but all in all, it didn't look like George Odom giving up a big play. It looked a little better than last week. Renardo Green, I thought, played a pretty good game. Again, it wasn't Isaac Yiadom giving up a ton of big plays. So when you take those into context, it's just like, let the young people cook. And the whole point was, we know what Yiadom and Odom are. They're like 30-year-old dudes, just about. They're late 20s, early 30s dudes. These other guys are rookies, right? I'll take the mistakes if the mistakes are going to come from the guys with more of the upside and more of the projected upside. Let's see what they are, not the ones that we already know what they are.
Exactly. Really good point. Because if there's an upside there, let's see it. And if there's a growing curve, let's get through it. Mike, what was your main takeaway? We had talked about this game being a game the 49ers need to exercise their demons on, and this is relaying me back to Rodney Super Chat earlier. Didn't seem like the special teams demon went away. It seems like they're still being possessed or haunted, whatever metaphor you want to use, by that demon. How do you feel coming out of this game where they look great and are good in other areas, not so much special teams?
Yes, but I said it, and I'm going to stand on it. Special teams is going to be a liability. The Niners, unfortunately, the other two phases of the game are going to have to carry and do more because of the special teams. It's not up to par. It's not. I mean, we were watching some other games later on that night, and people were like, man, this is what we need. This is what we need to see. And I'm like, you guys are just watching a regular special teams unit. Like, that's how bad we are, that when we see just average play or standard play like that, then we say, oh, we want that. That's how bad we are on special teams. So we have to improve. And it's whether it's on both ways of the special teams, when we're getting the ball and when we're kicking the ball. I don't know what's going on with Mitch Wisnowski this year. The punting doesn't quite seem to be the same. Like, why are we kicking two people for 2-minute drills? You know, like, angle it, direction kicks, out of bounds. Like, we have to get back to some really basic stuff that we're just not doing. Don't give teams opportunities. Think about that. You said it was a 9-yard return right before the half, right, for them when they got that field goal, that 60-something yarder. What if we just booted it as far as he could and out of bounds? Right? Eliminate the option for the 9-yard return. Without that 9-yard return, they don't even get that 3. You know, I mean, I know that it doesn't mean that all the plays were going to be the exact same, but we were dominating up to that point. The defensive line has been playing so well, right? It's like the Niners have to trust that defense. We were all over them. I know Nick Bosa only was credited with the 1 sack. He had the little trifecta play that you guys are talking about, but Nick Bosa was causing havoc all game long. This was reminiscent of that Saints game that he had no sacks in, but was a complete nightmare for them in that game. That was one of his best games, in my opinion, where he finished with no sacks and just was dominant out there, just completely wrecking havoc. And it wasn't just Nick Bosa, right? Shout out to Jersey, Kevin Givens. Kevin Givens is Jersey's own. He was out there doing his thing. Malik Collins, you guys talked about, with the fumble recovery and things like that. Like, the defensive line is doing what they're supposed to do. You got to trust your defense. Kick the ball out of bounds. Let them go out there and do their thing.
Yeah. Very well said. It's unfortunate that I do think the 49ers and Kyle, I've gotten on him and said he just doesn't care about special teams. I think he does to an extent.
Not enough.
Not enough. He drafted Jake Moody. He drafted Mitch. They did give Gold more money. So I think he, in a sense, thinks of, at the very least, kickers as a weapon to score points. Mike, this is my conspiracy brain going back to the preseason where we saw the Niners bring in Presley Harvin to compete. I shouldn't say compete, not compete, to handle punting duties while Mitch was injured and not fully healthy. Do you think there's a chance he's still not fully healthy? I mean, are either of you guys, am I weird for trying to compensate for his poor punts by saying maybe he's still not fully healthy and maybe he rushed back so he wasn't placed on IR or, out of a job thanks to Presley Harvin, who looked really good in the preseason?
Yeah, it's possible, and then I think what scared the Niners off and maybe made them rush him back was Harvin's last game. He had a couple of, what was that type punts, right? I think there were 2 of them in that game, and it was like, dude, that's not what we saw the last game. The game before that, he was just completely dominant. It was like, wow, this guy's really good. He was out kicking coverage, but all of his kicks had backspins, and they were landing inside the 5, inside the 10, right? And it was like, that's what we could use. And I think the Niners kind of got scared off. This goes back to my personal opinion. They just don't value special teams. They don't. They don't go out and draft anyone for the specific purpose of being return men. They don't go out there and draft guys with the specific purpose of being gunners, and I get that, right? But when you have a team that's as stacked as we are on offense and defense, you can afford to go out there and draft some specialists, and the Niners just aren't one of those teams. When's the last time you thought they drafted a return guy? Was it Pettis, who they never put back for returns, right? Like, he led the NCAA in returns for 2 seasons straight. The Niners drafted him. It was like, oh, we got a return guy and maybe a good wide receiver. And they're like, yeah, no to both.
I think he returned punts for a bit, to be fair, but not kickoffs for some reason. They just felt more comfortable with punts.
Right.
Yeah. They did sign Ray the year before last. He was leading in return yards as well. Didn't really pan out. Matt, I think I cut you off.
Yeah, no, listen, after Monday night's game, Tennessee and Miami, the 49ers are now the last ranked special teams unit in the NFL. Worst in the NFL. So that's something that definitely needs to change. There's a couple of other near worst that the 49ers have. One of the cool things about being able to say Brock Purdy is an elite guy, last year he led the league in yards per attempt. The Niners were number 1 in YAC. This year, he leads the NFL so far in yards per attempt. Niners are 31st in YAC. So they're, again, Kyle said it after the game. When you can go out there and get a win, knowing that you can play a lot better, that's a good thing. The special teams got to get better, though, because it's going to end up hurting this team in a major, major way come crunch time, come playoff time.
And I think that's what the question was in the super chat. How? Like, is there anything that we can do in season to make this team look better? I don't know, Rodney. I'm being completely honest with you. I don't know.
Maybe it's one of those things. Again, you change the focus a little bit, like what Zach, like what you guys were talking about. Rather than kick it in the field of play and give up that 9-yard return, shade it to the sideline. Again, you might lose some net yards on the punt, but what you're not doing is giving the team an opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good point.
And maybe just those one or two things. One thing they can do, especially with somebody like Isaiah Garendo, is ball security. Ball security needs to be tops, right? I know Kyle didn't make it a big deal when Cowing fumbled that punt. He said, everybody misses one, and that's fine. But once you catch it, and I do agree, sometimes you muff a punt. That's just how it goes. Once you catch it, you cannot fumble. Well, 2 hands on the ball, you can't, and especially the way Garendo did. You can't fumble it running into your own dude's ass. Like, that's just unacceptable. You know what I mean?
What was weird was Kyle defended the fumble by Garendo.
It's weird.
Like, he was just like, he was like, it's a football play. It happens to anybody, blah, blah, blah. But then we also didn't see him. I'm wondering if Kyle is the one making the decision for who's back for the returns or not, because the way he was talking post-game presser, it just seemed like he wasn't concerned with it.
I also wonder if it's a way to not like absolutely shit on your rookies at the podium.
Not make a big deal over it.
Exactly. And it's like, this is something we'll address in practice, right? Like, because this is Garendo's first fumble. So it's like, Cowan got one. I got no choice but to give Garendo one, right? And what you want to see is them not make the same mistake over and over again. So, maybe that's part of it. But 49ers, again, how many, how long has special teams been a bugaboo for the 49ers? Like 14 years now?
Yeah.
Going back to Kyle Williams fumbling twice in the NFC Championship game, going on to David Akers all of a sudden can't make a field goal anymore, going to 2012 where they give up a touchdown to Jacoby on the kick return, like just over and over and over again. It never fit. Last year in the Super Bowl, right? Ray McLeod, I was trying to make a football play rather than diving on the fumble, like over and over and over again. And this is across regimes. For whatever reason, the 49ers have not had very good luck with special teams overall.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's frustrating, but like I said, it's conflicting to me because they drafted Mitch, they drafted Moody, they took a lot of shit for drafting Moody and Mitch. They signed Ray, like I said, who was leading in returns. But for some reason, it's like they can't get it to all come together. And I don't know if Kyle just thinks like simply getting the pieces is enough, and that's why we're not seeing the finished product on the field rank as highly as it should for this team. And maybe he's like, like, what the fuck? Like, I bought all the groceries. Why is there not, a steak and potatoes on my plate when I come home? We still got to cook it. You got to practice it. You got to put in the work. And maybe they just don't spend the time doing it. It's all speculation. I have no idea if they not. Yeah. Lael, they signed George Odom too. He was a top special teams ace.
Right.
So developed Curtis Robinson, who had been a top special teams ace. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but this is where they are. Whatever it is, they got to figure it out. You want to tell me you're one of the best coaches in the league, one of the brightest minds? Figure it out. It's fucking special teams, bro. Kick the ball and tackle.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Matt, your guy Nick Bosa had a hell of a game. I want you to talk about this.
It was 3 sacks and a forced fumble adjacent. I'll tell you that. It was wild. And next gen stats. So he had 9 pressures overall on the quarterback, but his get off averaged 0.51 seconds. Fastest in a game over the last 7 seasons. That's a half second from snap to him. That's blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's him fucking shit up. Like, that's how it's supposed to be, baby. Yep. That's how. And that 1 sack again is not indicative of what he actually did.
Man, did you see him? Politicking for Jacoby Brissett being down on that? He was like, he was down, bro. He was down. He wasn't, but he's sitting there, he's trying to get sacks, and he almost, like, honestly, we're talking about an inch or two away.
Yeah, it was so
having
close.
like 4 sacks in this game. So
Yeah,
very, very disruptive.
but and to Nick Bosa's point, I think we're gonna see a lot more of what we saw in this game because the 49ers defensive line is actually doing it. No one's paying attention to it, but 6, 5, and 6 are the sack totals for the 49ers defensive line the last 3 games. That's phenomenal. Like, that is the kind of stuff that makes you want to like. That's the kind of stuff that makes you want to like get really excited about the potential of this defensive line. I've been talking shit about Chris Kocurek. I'm going to continue to talk shit about Chris Kocurek if these are the results that we're going to get. Because not only are they doing it, getting after the quarterback, the run defense was playing pretty well also.
Yeah, and shout-outs, by the way, I heard on the NBC Niners post show, I think Dante Whitner was talking about it, how the 49ers went from blitzing at a 14% clip to 35% for this game. So they upped their blitz percentages really, really high. So, and again, maybe this is what, somebody else had pointed out that under D'Amico Ryans, the 49ers gave up more points per game in his first 3 games as defensive coordinator. So maybe this is just part of the natural growing pains. I'd like to see more performances like this because as opposed to the first 3 weeks where the defense looked very lackluster and lethargic, I actually thought the defense carried the other 2 units in this game because offensively there was a lot of mistakes. There was a lot left out there, again, particularly with those early field goals instead of touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Purdy, again, with that interception, of course. But there were just some drives that I thought the 49ers made maybe some bad decisions on, maybe stalled out a little bit in the middle of the game, and the defense really kept up a high level throughout the game, not that touchdown notwithstanding, off of the turnover.
I agree. This is from Kyle Posey. First week, blitz rate 9.7%. Second week, 12.5%. Third week, 20.7%, and this week 33.3%. So it's essentially almost quadrupled in 4 weeks. And it's nice because how many times have we played a team? I mean, just look back at last week. 49ers played a beat up offensive line that the Rams had with like a bunch of makeshift starters, the guys they found off the street. I think we sacked Matt Stafford or hit him a couple times. It didn't change the game. We always go up against these depleted units, and for some reason, they play on the same level. This was one of the first times in a long time that I can remember the 49ers actually took advantage of going up against a depleted unit. So that was nice to see.
New England with 216 total yards, and more importantly, only 5 of 16 on third downs.
Great point.
Boom. Third down improved drastically for our offense as well as defense. And then, if I'm going to factor in fourth downs during the inefficiencies, I have to factor it in when they're successful there as well. Those numbers were just completely night and day difference from what we saw for the first 3 games of the season. So the Niners are slowly figuring it out. And I know people are going to say, well, it's just the Patriots. I'm guilty of it myself, right? But it is an NFL team.
Any given Sunday. Sunday,
Bingo. And someone in here said, looks like Mason is going to be used more like CMC. Think about the plays that Mason has had called back this season so far.
Yes.
Well, I think 2 or 3 touchdowns have been taken away from this kid for holdings and illegal shifts and shit like that.
Specifically was a touchdown reception.
Right. So that doesn't even show up in his stat sheet, but he finished the game with 2 receptions at 37 yards on those 2 receptions, right? So now it's like, hey, Brock, this is also a weapon. You got to depend on that check down, man. He's out there and he's working, man. The jugs machine worked. It worked. I don't know how many drop passes I've seen from Mason this season. I'm not even trying to be funny
I don't think he has.
Right. So, I mean, it's an option. And there were times in this game where I was yelling at Brock because he was doing all his running around and stuff like that. And there was a guy to his left just standing there waiting. Almost like Debo for that throw that Debo almost went out of bounds on a week or 2 ago. Right. Like, he's just standing there to his left like, hey, Brock, I'm here if you need me. But Brock was doing all kinds of extra stuff and just didn't really didn't really seem to want to go there. So I think even Brock has room to improve, which will make Mason or whoever the check down option is even better. It's going to do nothing but pad the stats. It's going to move the ball and move the chains a little bit more. Like, there's a lot more to improve on. And this is coming off of a game that we settled for field goals we felt like we shouldn't have, where we, you know what I'm saying? Like, where we threw the ball away and had turnovers that were kind of, self-inflicted turnovers and things like that, right? Like, there's such a big area for the 49ers to improve on. It's scary, and we're not healthy yet. That's the thing that, like, it gets me the most excited when watching these games back and all that. It's like, imagine if our fourth wide receiver option is a first-round pick, right? Imagine if the offensive line was playing the way we want them to all game long. Imagine if the defensive guys are healthy and we get Greenlaw back out there and we get some sort of consistency at the safety positions, right? Like, not for nothing, Mustafa, I'm going to tell you, you guys know how I am for Jersey guys. He might be already better than Jair Brown. I know that sounds like, Mike, what are you talking about? What are you saying? And I know that Mustafa had the drop touchdown. It hit him right in the, he's got to come down with that. He's kicking himself, right? But, the fact is that they didn't make a play. The opposing team didn't make a play. He did drop the pick, but just give him more opportunities. He'll start coming down with them soon. He'll come down with them.
Dare I say the offensive line interior, and I get it's the Patriots, caveat all you want, looked better without Javon Hargrave. No shot to Hargrave. Again, this isn't like a Ayuk Jennings. This isn't a shot. But Malik Collins looked great. Kevin Givens, Mike, you mentioned earlier, 2.5 sacks. Malik Collins, 1.5 sacks. Sam Okuwanyu
looked really good.
Just called up off the practice squad. Evan Anderson, the rookie, a sack as well. The 49ers finished with 6 sacks today. So, it was just really impressive to see. And Okuwanyu, I believe he's from
15
Congo?
snaps. 15 snaps for that kid. 10 of those snaps, he directly affected the play. That is phenomenal.
Yes.
Talk about an ROI, return on investment. That's what you're looking for.
It was fantastic, and I saw him being interviewed after the game. I'm trying to pull up the tweet here, but he was talking about how he just started playing football relatively recently. Like within the past 5-10 years, So like he's one of those guys that's going to get better the more he plays. The 49ers very well could have found like a star in this kid, so I'm really excited to see him play more and more. Before we wrap up here on the Patriots win, is there anything I haven't touched on that you guys want to talk about?
Just relative health coming out of the game minus George Kittle, Fred Warner going with an ankle. Everybody else who was injured in the game returned at some point or another, and they're all listed as questionable, so I would expect them to go. I didn't see anything super obvious with Fred. So I'm thinking maybe just like a regular run-of-the-mill ankle sprain. So I'm wondering if it was a more important game, I wonder if he would have came back.
Well, so they asked him that actually, and he said no. If I was able to go back out there, I was going to. That was the only thing that kind of made it feel concerning. But hearing the designations being day to day as opposed to like week to week, I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take it.
To be fair, I don't know if he would have said, maybe.
Right.
I kind of just called it a day. We weren't going to lose to those bums.
Right. I think that's an important part because we've seen, again, like the same thing with Christian McCaffrey, right? Kyle Shanahan, after week 1, said if this was a playoff game, Christian McCaffrey would have played. With, by the way, bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which people are freaking out about, but it's pretty obvious that might have been a thing at some point or another.
How serious is this, Matt? I'm sorry.
He got the treatment, and they're trying to ramp him up. I'd say like week 12, week 13 for his return.
That long?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
So what's happening? He goes and he gets the stem cells injected, and what happens is it starts because your connective tissues don't really have a lot of blood flow, so they're really hard to kind of heal from that perspective. You don't get a lot of blood flow there, so not a lot of nutrients are going there. So they put these nutrient dense stem cells and platelet-rich plasma into those areas. And what happens is you start to get remodeling of the connective tissue itself, and that takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. You want him to ramp back up, so we're looking at 8 weeks from this point, so about week 12, week 13. So
Jordan,
if it's gonna tear, it's gonna tear. Like, I mean, there's, again, you're limited to what you can do. You hope that it feels better at some point. But again, if it's gonna tear, it's gonna tear. And the funny thing is, people are freaking out about, oh man, like, you know, he's got bilateral, blah 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 blah. You know, remember, well, I don't think many people know this, but Dre Greenlaw was actually dealing with the Achilles strain on the opposite side of the one that he tore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
well, that's you're favoring one side. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Biomechanics is all about balance in your body, and sometimes when you overcompensate for one, you actually overuse the other and lead yourself open to more injury. The fact that he knows that it's bilateral lets him get treatment in both and then nip that in the bud and heal both at the same time. So that way he's not doing as much of that favoring. So it is what it is. But you see bilateral issues in a lot of people. They say people who have torn an ACL or who are, you know, they usually tear the other one as well. That's just how
in
it
the
goes
next season or two. Yeah.
Yep. So that is what it is, man.
My question for you guys is this, right? So Jordan Mason, I mean, you're saying 12 to 14 for week 12 to 14 for CMC, right? And we're just shooting in the dark here. Are you in a rush to bring Christian McCaffrey back? Like, is he more important this year, or would you take him for the next 2 seasons after this? And the reason I'm asking is Mason's on pace for 1,800 plus yards. I mean, honestly, it's almost 1,900. I just did the math. He's averaging 111.75 yards a game right now, which would put him at 1,899.75 yards on the season. He's also on pace for 12.75 touchdowns. You can call it 12, you can call it 13. Rushing. I did not do anything with passing at all. Nothing to do with passing. We talked about the touchdowns that have been taken away from him and all that stuff. Should we be in a rush to bring him back if Mason's is running on a clip like this?
It wouldn't be a rush. They're not going to bring him back if it doesn't feel better. The problem is when you're talking about Achilles tendonitis, what is that? It's literally just inflammation of the Achilles tendon. And with no actual injury mechanism, you can't really, you know, with a torn ACL, you know what a torn ACL is. You go in and you repair it, right? A torn meniscus, you can repair it. A torn MCL, maybe you can conservatively manage it and really look at it, right? When you're looking at tears, you can do that. Even calf strains and hamstring pulls and things like that. Those are micro tearing of the muscle belly, and you can look at those under MRI and really get an idea of what the mechanism of that injury was. With Achilles tendonitis, you don't know, right? Like it feels like whatever, and he could go back to feeling really, really well and ramp it up and feel good in practice. And then the first game that he plays in, he tear his Achilles. You just never know with this. So saving him for the next 2 years, I don't think is something that you can count on, because this could be something that could become chronic, or it could be something that once the treatment starts to take effect, he doesn't ever worry about again. I think what works in Christian McCaffrey's favor is that he has zero surgical history while in the NFL. Everything has been a short-term injury, but you do want to manage this as much as you can realistically, without, you know, KD's was a calf strain. So that led to an Achilles tear. A little bit different. This is a Achilles tendonitis, which is different.
Did you guys catch Richard Sherman talking about his Achilles injury?
Yeah.
He had the same.
It was just like it went. He was like it went. Yeah.
And he basically said he had tendonitis in one. I think he only had it in one. But he's like, you know, like the Seahawks, and he does that Richard Sherman podcast with Mitchell. And Mitchell's like, I've known you since then, and if you don't mind, I'll share the information. He goes, yeah. And he said that the Seahawks basically told Richard Sherman, it's going to snap at some point this season, and you're just going to fucking play. Like, either you sit out the entire year with it just inflamed, or you go and play, and we know it's going to snap. It's just a matter of time before it snaps. He did add very heavily, everybody's Achilles tendonitis is different. Mine was pretty severe, and it was, you know, he played through it as well.
It's an increase. It's an increased risk for sure. I think it's 10.4% of people of athletes with Achilles tendonitis end up with an Achilles rupture. So it's like not an insubstantial risk, right? Like it's 10%, and that's 10% at any given moment, right? That could happen. But yeah, I think that
it's so odd.
You manage the symptoms, right? If it doesn't feel right, then you got to manage it. But once that inflammation goes down, then you at some point you got to shit or get off the pot. I don't think that resting him for the entire season is going to change anything.
Really? That's kind of what I was wondering. Like, you can't do any.
Because again, what are you treating? You're not treating the cause. You're treating the symptom right now.
Yeah, but we have anti-inflammatory treatments available. They can't do like a direct. Maybe that's what he went for in Germany. I don't know, but like they don't have like a direct.
That is what he went for. He got stem cells injected into the area to
anti-inflammatory type shit, right? Like, yeah.
And stem cells that aren't legal here in the United States. It's the same thing that Kobe Bryant got after his Achilles tear that helped him feel better. But again, I say if you have a broken arm, you know how to you know what the cause of the issue is. It's the broken arm. When you have Achilles tendonitis, which is just a broad umbrella term for inflammation of the Achilles tendon, there's no specific cause to that other than the fact that he's a pro athlete. He's, under extreme amount of load when he's sprinting, cutting, doing whatever. And you're never taking away the overall stimulus that was the cause of it in the first place. So you're just managing the symptom. There's no way to keep that Achilles tendon from snapping. There's literally no way to do it. You manage it based off the symptoms that you feel. And even if you feel good, it could still go at any given point.
So Papa's comment at 11:38 is a little bit more than wishful thinking then, yeah? Like he's saying that CMC will be back after the bye week. I just don't see that happening.
Typically, you would see 4 to 6 weeks of remodeling for the treatment to start taking effect. And the remodel can actually last up to a year to fully remodel based off of the stem cells that are injected. It's an ongoing process. It's really going to depend on how his ramp up goes. Monday, he was supposed to run on hard surfaces and go from there. But yeah. It's just going to depend. I would say week 13, week 14, though.
Right. I think that does this lend credence to that? Maybe Kyle shouldn't have given him 400 fucking touches last year when we were all saying, let somebody else maybe get in on the workload.
I can't blame Kyle because Christian McCaffrey's been getting 400 touches his entire fucking career.
Yeah, I thought that was a career high for him. I think he did set a career high, to be very clear, but I mean, by how much is really what the question is, right? Like, he also played with the Panthers, and they never made the postseason, I think, except one of his seasons there, right? For us to go out there and set the career high, and we're playing 20 games a season every season he's here, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to shatter those numbers. We're talking about 25 touches a game for one player.
Consider the age. That's all I'll say. Maybe take into consideration the age as each year goes on. That number
he's in his physical prime. He's like 26, 27.
My man's like 26, 27 years old. Yeah.
He's basically 60 for a running back.
Here's what I'll say. StatMuse has it. His touches per game. And his highest usage was actually in Carolina, 2019-2020, where he averaged over 25 touches per game.
Was that the 2K, or 1K,
1,000, yeah, 1,000 year.
What year was that?
That 1,000 year was 2019, and then he got another 25.
But they didn't make the postseason that year, right?
No, they did not. But per game stats, so total touches last year were more, but Christian McCaffrey averaged 21.2 touches last year for the 49ers, so 4 off of his peak. So again,
and now you also have to add in 3 more postseason games. Is kind of my point. Right. So now you're talking about another 65 touches.
Right. Yeah, that's total touches. So I'm not going to kill. It's not like Kyle is grinding him into the ground every single game, not making the playoffs or whatever, like Carolina was. Right. This is Kyle using him at a good clip for sure, but again.
To be fair, Mason's kind of getting the same play right now. Like, maybe Guerrero gets a carry here or there. Like, Kyle's not known for rotating running backs, and I'm not mad at it. I mean, use the fucking running back if you got him, but it is kind of like
And
I
Mason,
wish there was
yeah.
a second back.
And Mason is getting a lot of touches for sure.
Right.
He's already at 91 rush attempts. He's already at 91 rush attempts through 4 games, guys. Like he's on. Come on. Like this is, but he's answering. It's not like, oh, here's 1 yard here, here's 1 yard there. This guy has 91 touches at 4.9 a pop.
Thank you. I was gonna say he's still averaging about five a pop.
Yeah, this is
I wanted
incredible.
to play this clip for you guys, and then we can move on to the preview if there's nothing else. But if you guys have anything, please. Sam Okuwanyu, this is from David Lombardi. Just guy's got a great story. You got to hear this. Make sure the volume's all the way up. So you
His
guys
Bubba Gump hat from Forrest Gump.
Hey man, my whole life really been adversity. Shit, I grew up in Liberia, west coast of Africa. I was born during the Civil War out there. Me and my mom migrated to America at the age of 12. Started playing football my senior year in high school, man. Went to a couple of junior colleges because I was fresh to the game. You know, I'm very new to football. I'm still learning the game of football, man. And got to Maryland, had to wait. And then even coming out the league, man, I feel like I should have been a draft pick, but shit, God had other plans for me, man. So, and then getting signed to Tennessee and getting cut and being here and just kind of grinding my way through the rotation. But I love it all, man, because at the end of the day, it makes a great story, man. And I'm the guy who kind of pride himself on facing things hard on and just head on and just, attacking the adversity, man, because come out the other side, victorious. Hey, man.
Great story. Really rooted for that guy. He could be a vital part of the 49ers defensive line moving forward with Hargrave's injury. Was there anything else? Go ahead, Mike.
He's been in the league for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Sounds about right.
This guy is already 26 years old. And that's what they reported. People come. Never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
It's I'm not going to say that bench warmers meme when he hands the paper with his picture. I am 12.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of boxing, and Cuban boxers are notorious for it. Like, whatever they say their age is, add 4 or 5 years to it, right? Like, but I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say about him. But he doesn't look 26 to me. That's a grown ass man I just saw talking at that presser. The dad hat and all says
the
it.
Birth certificate.
But I do.
You might be 35.
I do love,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do love hearing the backstory and all that. And hey, let's get him some more snaps. I mean, 2022. Yeah, he's been in the league for two seasons now. So we'll see. Let's let him go ahead and get this work. And he's having a great rotation. He's a great rotational player for the 49ers so far.
Yes, sir. Was there anything else in this Patriots game you guys want to talk about? Great job by the Niners overall.
Yeah, great job.
Good teams win, great teams cover. Niners covered, baby. They're favored by 10.5, ended up winning by 17. So great job for the 49ers. Back in the win column, even things out 2-2. Most importantly, last night, the Seattle Seahawks got dog walked by Jared Goff and the Lions offense. Everybody wants to add the caveat that, they were without so-and-so. The 49ers have been without so-and-so all year. Nobody gave a shit about them, so I'm not giving a shit about it. So let's move on to this game. Week 5, they host the Arizona Cardinals, who just came off a pretty tough loss.
That should have been that's embarrassing.
An ass whooping. Against
allow
Washington Commanders.
What was it, 91% completion percentage?
Yeah.
Like
Dayton Daniels was 26 for 30, 233 yards and a touchdown. The final score is 42-14. A couple of weeks ago, I was looking at this game like the Cardinals are going to beat the shit out of the Niners defense with Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson. Like, they're going to air it out because that's what they were doing to the Rams. They're playing good against the Buffalo Bills. But the past 2 weeks, they've kind of stalled a bit. What are your guys' thoughts on this game? How nervous are you to take on the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah. By the way, Jaden Daniels leads the NFL in completion percentage at 82.1%.
80, yeah, he's over 80%, which is insane for a rookie.
He's nice. So J.J. McCarthy is my favorite quarterback coming out, but Jaden was my number 2.
To his credit, these aren't dink and dunk throws either. No. He is dealing out there, guys. Like he is making some difficult throws. He's putting it in the windows. Like this kid is really doing his thing. And I couldn't be happier for him. I kind of see why Brandon Ayuk was like, let me play with my guy Jaden. Like I'm starting to see it, but this is about the Cardinals, man. And if you look at what the Cardinals did in last week's game, I mean, it's so weird to see if your team is down by so much, like why they only have 22 pass attempts. And it's not like Kyler Murray was struggling either, right? He was 16 of 22. That's a very respectable clip for a guy, but he only had 142 yards, which tells me there's a lot of checkdowns. It seems like Washington was taking away everything downfield, making them settle. We're going to give you the underneath stuff. You're going to have to settle for it, and we're going to scramble and swarm to the ball, right? Hopefully the Niners can take a little bit from what they saw from them and implement that, because they really, really had these guys under control. Now, the one thing that I will say, the Cardinals have been running the ball like crazy this year. I don't know where they rank in rushing as far as NFL goes and all that. And even in a game where they lost it 42-14, you still had Connor going over 100 yards, averaging over 5 yards a carry, almost 6. He still got in the end zone. Kyler Murray didn't scramble around in this game. He had one official rushing attempt in this game. That's not normal Kyler Murray stuff. So I don't know if he's nursing something, they're trying to keep it under wraps or what, but when Kyler Murray is on, we've seen what he does to the 49ers. We know how shifty this young man can be. This is not going – I don't want us to sit here and be like, oh, they just did that against the Commanders. We're better than them, so we're gonna blow these guys out. I just don't – I don't think that's the case. I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying that they were looking ahead and looking past the Commanders, but Kyler Murray being 1 for 3 on the ground, that's a huge siren. There's a light that's flashing around that in my mind, like something's not right. And I don't think we should expect that kind of game.
Matt, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think this is a game that the 49ers can't take for granted. I do think that, again, division games are always the hardest ones. The Cardinals' offense has been really weird so far. It seems on certain drives they'll look like they're, raring to go and have one of the better offenses in the league, and then they'll go 3 straight drives without doing anything. And I don't know what they're doing with Marvin Harrison, because he disappears for huge stretches of games where like Kyler Murray's not looking his way. But when we play the Cardinals, weird things happen, and this would be the one time where the 49ers, all of a sudden let Marvin Harrison just go absolutely bananas, which they cannot do, but they seem to find a way, right? Kyler Murray's going to just be locked in on him. They have to be careful. Again, first really, really mobile quarterback of the year. Yep. Sam Darnold's not beating you off nowhere, like to beating you to the edge. I know. Pause. I know. I caught myself. Sam Darnold's not beating anybody in a foot race to the edge. Aaron Rodgers is old and crusty. Matt Stafford is a statue. Jacoby Brissett's a statue. So there have been no real – and by the way, Sam Darnold, who's not beating anybody to the edge, actually did have some good rushes. So when you look at somebody like Kyler Murray, who's actually fast, and then you have some of the weapons that they have, you have to be very careful with that. So they need to be very, very careful here.
What scares me, by the way, check out these fucking portraits we did this past weekend for Ashley's birthday. See who's behind me? I did this one.
Hey, okay.
She did that one. Hers came out a lot better, but we'll have to get into that. What scares me about the Cardinals is their ability to make a fucking living out of broken plays. Kyler Murray is so comfortable in that scramble drill, and I think the addition of Marvin Harrison Jr. really allows them to like almost run a second offense when it comes to these broken plays, or when he's scrambling around in the backfield and Nick Bosa's chasing him as much as he can. But Kyler's like, a mouse running through your house trying to catch. It's impossible. He's so fast. He's like that greased up deaf guy from Family Guy. You're not going to catch him. So I just think that's what scares me. I am a little more optimistic because of the 49ers benching essentially Yadam and letting Renardo Green go in there. I think he's got some more speed. Mustafa had some great speed we saw Sunday against the Patriots. So there is more speed there that gives me a little more confidence in the 49ers defense to not get abused by the Cardinals receiving core, because they do have a great receiving core. I mean, it's one of the best in my opinion, youngest, but one of the best. And as far as injuries go, the 49ers got a good amount of injuries going into this game. The Cardinals, on the other hand, only Trey McBride. Again, it's Tuesday. This is subject to change as the week goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Trey McBride, their starting tight end, is questionable. I think he's still dealing with a concussion. And then Kyrus Tonga is questionable for them as well. For the 49ers, Chris Conley, George Kittle, Fred Warner, Talanoa Hufanga, Jordan Elliott, Kyle Juszczyk, and Jacob Cowing are all questionable. To be fair, they were all day-to-day, so I don't think anything's too crazy to be, waving the red flag over. But I think if the 49ers win this game, they're going to need to put up 24-plus points just to be sure. Because if there is one team that can score quickly, I think it's this team. I mean, they're feast or famine this year. Either they're putting up 40 points or they're getting blown out. So it's really hard to tell who they are. Go ahead, Mike.
And the Cardinals feel better than they actually are right now. And if you ask anybody what the Cardinals' record is through 4 games, most people are going to say 2-2, maybe 3-1, right? Like that's just how they felt, right? But they're really just a 1-3 team. They really are a 1-3 team. And here's the crazy thing: the Cardinals are a team that usually start hot. They don't usually get hot. And I take you all back to that 8-0 year where they started 8-0, and then what'd they do? Next to nothing later on, right? But now they also ended up losing Kyler Murray later on that season and things like that. It's like, what can they do if they kept him healthy and upright all year long? And I think that's why you see him with just the one rush attempt for just 3 yards, because they see longevity being the issue, not so much what he can and can't do. They know what he can do. Marvin Harrison is very, very special. He's someone to look at, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he's really good. If you take away that Rams game or just his 60-yard play against the Rams, his numbers are just okay, good, right? He finished his Commanders game with 9 yards per reception. That's with a long of almost 20 yards. It was 19, right? He finished the Lions game with 12.8 yards of reception. Let's call it 13, a long of 17. But then that Rams game is where he had a 60-yard reception, but he finished that game with 4 receptions for 130 yards. You can never take away the long play, but it does add to the context of it. This guy seems almost more like a possession receiver than he does an actual downfield threat. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, right? This isn't like Justin Jefferson, who beat us for the, what was that, like 122-yard passing play, right? It's not that with Justin Jefferson, because he gets deep quickly. I'll pause that, right? But that's like Justin Jefferson does it all over the field. We haven't really seen that this guy be a consistent downfield target for the Cardinals. So I don't know if we're maybe overrating some of their wide receiving core. Michael Wilson is another guy I think his name is Wilson, right? Michael.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Wilson is a guy that's over there, and he seems to be okay at times, but he's kind of like a gimmick guy, right? Like he's got to go out there and really do something. There was nothing. There's I don't know. I don't know how to call it. I don't know.
They're a very in between team, and I think it is. I agree with you. It's hard to put the finger on them. This to me, it's like they're not a great team, like you said, Mike. They're 1-3, but at the same time, they have the capability of putting up with anybody, and that's what I think the 49ers need to be cautious of. They can hang around.
They can definitely win. They can beat the 49ers. That's straight up. The 49ers don't come out locked in, and they play like they did against the Rams. The Cardinals are fully capable of doing what the Rams did, because the Rams are not good either. The Rams just lost to the fucking Bears. Right? Like, if the 49ers aren't out there being careful, then you're looking at an instance of the 49ers really, looking over past their opponents. What they better not be looking to Thursday night,
Exactly.
Arizona will get you. And before you know it, they're giving up big plays. They're behind the 8 ball, and they're having to come back. And that's not what the 49ers need to put the team away early and just bully them. They have more talent. On paper, on the field, whatever you want to say, that's just how it is.
Yeah. So this is just real quick. This is the first game wide receiver Ricky Pearsall is eligible to come off the NFI list. Kyle has said they'll make a decision within the next few days. He's been practicing on his own, according to all reports from practice. Do you guys think we see his season NFL debut on Sunday, or do you think they push it out until next Thursday? What are you guys expecting out of Ricky Pearsall here? Shanahan seems to like to slow walk these things. For some reason, I'm a little pessimistic we see him this Sunday, but what do you guys think?
All right, let me go first. I think there's a possibility that we see him. I don't think we see him a lot, though. I want you guys to all remember that this kid has never done a contact practice in the NFL. Even when he was on the practice field before getting shot, he was in the blue non-contact jersey. He's never done a full padded practice. He hasn't been hit by an NFL player before. This is not something that I would just say, okay, you're healthy, let's go. I'm not doing that if I'm the 49ers. And to be honest with you guys, I don't recall why he was in the blue non-contact jerseys in the first place. So in addition to what
shoulder injury.
Shoulder injury.
So he gets shot in the shoulder that he was.
Could have been the other one. I don't know.
What if it realigned that shoulder? Now it's good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, all it takes is a 9 mil to get you feeling better, right? Like I don't know, but not to joke on the situation at all, but I don't know that he should be like a part of the offensive plan, right? Like, if God forbid, or knock on wood, right? If God forbid someone goes down and we need to get some rotational guys in there, I would hope that the Niners go to Connolly. Let's get Cowing involved in the offensive snaps before we just go out there. And I know he's a first-round pick, but before we go out there and throw a guy who's never been hit in the NFL right into the fire, I actually would target him for a Thursday night game. Catch them. And when I say them, the Seahawks slipping with no film to study on a guy that they've never seen before. Maybe let him go out there and run some routes, but don't target him. You know what I mean? Let him go out there and see what it's like to block an NFL corner or safety on a screen play or something like that. You know what I mean? Let's see what he does downfield. Let him run some routes, and then the Niners go back and review that film, implement some of that, what he did well, into the Thursday night game. Like that's what I'm hoping that they do. I wouldn't really target him a lot. At all if they do activate him. But as a fantasy football player, I have put in my claims for the leagues that he's available in.
Nice.
One league I did pick him up and put him on my my bench, or not bench, my IR. We have an IR, so he's been sitting down there and just waiting. So, like, he's going to start making his contribution soon. I wouldn't rush it to be week 5.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Mike. I don't think Pearsall is activated this week. Questionable to be activated week 6 against the Seahawks. I think we see him in week 7. They just activated his practice window. They have 3 weeks to decide what to do with him, so there's no rush.
Oh, wait, they did do that?
Well, once they do, they have 3 weeks. I don't know if they've officially done it yet, so let me not speak out of turn. But
Kyle said they were deciding.
Right. So they're going to have to decide soon if they're going to do it this week. But once they open that practice window, they have 3 weeks to decide. What I would think is that just to, I don't know. Hard to say, man. Like, there's no rush to get him back, especially if the 49ers offense has looked like it has. He needs practice. He needs to get back out there. They need to see how he feels under contact. I'm sure the mental side of it is probably, he's probably been in meetings, up on the playbook, all that stuff. So it's really going to depend. Yeah.
We're going to need Rolex to make this man like an NFL game.
Oh, shit.
Game-worthy Rolex that he could wear during the game and not get fucked up and not get broken.
What are you doing?
What?
Just wear an Apple Watch, bro. Like, fuck it.
Yeah. It's good luck, bro.
Oh my God. How is it? No, it's not. If I'm him, I'm never wearing a Rolex again. What are you saying?
He hasn't taken that thing off. Every time we see him, he still has it on. That's his good luck charm. How many men get shot right there and it exits the same spot, didn't touch anything? You're good to go.
Let me ask you a question. Would you have got shot without the Rolex?
No, and that's kind of my point.
That's the point.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, I'm with fish and chips. Get him the old Casio with the calculator on there that you can store phone numbers. And you remember that watch back in the day? Yeah, that was on my Christmas list for 3 years straight. I remember that watch. I got it finally too.
Nobody's shooting him on the field. That's all I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, luckily for him, Talib Kweli, what's his name? Talib
Aqib Talib.
Aqib Talib. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a chain snatcher out there. Who knows what he would do if someone was wearing a Rolex?
Yeah.
I do want to ask you guys, though.
Arenas is not on this team either, so.
Oh shit! I do want to ask you guys, getting back to the Cardinals really quick, not to get away too far from the Pearsall and the 49ers, right? Your level of concern, you can give me a scale of 1 to 10 or however you guys want to do it, about James Conner. James Conner seems to always be a thorn in the 49ers side, and he, I think, is probably their best and most consistent offensive weapon. Every time I think like this guy he's just filling in for another running back, like he's doing it, man. He's the guy over there, right? Like he's RB1. He's not.
Yeah. No, he's legit.
He's RB1.
He's
been RB1 since he got there.
Yeah, he led the NFL in touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, his first year there. I'd say like 7 out of 10 concern. He's a legit back. And if the 49ers allow this to be a one-score game, like a close game for most of it, that's when he really starts to get going. And the more you feed him, the more effective he's going to be. If it's a multi-score game where they have a comfortable lead, I'll definitely be less concerned because he's not really that pass-catching back. He's not that Jahmyr Gibbs style. He can cast patches and run, but he's not going to beat you receiving. You know what I mean? What? Go ahead, Matt.
You said cast
patches.
Oh, okay. It's late, man. I'm tired. I'm saying it's late. It's like for Mike.
I would say probably a 6 or a 7. He's going to be up for this game. If you remember, him and Talanoa Hufanga had a little issue the last time they played against each other. Yep. If Talanoa Hufanga plays, he's going to be up too. But they got to watch that. That's how you get into trouble when you're too focused on one thing or you're too focused on another. That's how you get beat. The Cardinals can beat you with throws. They can beat you with James Conner. They can beat you with Kyler Murray scrambles, and they need to be locked in and really just, again, being sound in your assignment, being sound in your, gaps and everything like that. That's what you have to do. So tackle well. Again, don't get too out of control with that. It's going to be interesting to see how the secondary plays. Again, Deommodore Lenoir, easily the best cornerback on this team. Charvarius Ward still leaving a little something to be desired. Who gets the assignment for Marvin Harrison? Do they share the duties? It's going to be a lot, but they better be ready to hit because they're going to need to hit in this game for sure. Fred Warner needs to hopefully he's out there. They need him, definitely.
Do you think the Niners should do with their corners what the Patriots did, right? They showed Christian Gonzalez on down and distance going to different players. It wasn't left side, right side, or boundary versus field. It was, hey, on this down and distance, go get that guy and eliminate that guy. And he did his job. Do you guys want to see the Niners implement something like that? Not so much in this game, but overall, because we don't really seem to be that team.
I'm always in favor of the best guy going after the other best guy. You know what I mean? But the problem is the best guy is Lenoir, and he's the best guy in multiple areas. So, on a certain down and distance, he's going to need to be in the slot. On a certain down and distance, he's going to need to be XYZ. And I think they move them based off of that. So Lenoir will go inside the slot. You'll have Yidam come in and play on the outside or whatever. I don't think that you can just have Lenoir shadow Marvin Harrison all game or whatever. You definitely don't want Charvarius Ward shadowing Marvin Harrison all game. So you kind of just have to take it as it comes. And I think that's more of a personnel thing. It's not, when back in the day of the lockdown corner, Darrelle Revis, you could do that, right? Just Darrelle Revis going to be in the pocket of whoever's the best guy. But I don't think that the 49ers roll that way because of some of the deficiencies in other areas, You risk exposing not just the corner, but the safeties as well. If you have a guy following another guy around, they've been playing left, right for so long or being in their spots for so long. They probably key off of the other guys, right? The safeties probably key off of whoever's the corner on their side. They know their tendencies. They know the way that they like to cover, and that helps inform how they want to, cover their assignment. So I'd like to see more of it, but I don't know if they have the horses to do that reliably.
If there ever was a game, I think it would be this one. We had that comment from Charvarius Ward after the Minnesota game. I like to shadow the other team's, wide receiver one. That wasn't the game plan this week. I would tell him, hey, you think you could do it? There's an amazing talent on the other side right there, Marvin Harrison Jr. Go prove you could do it. But that's really just not the style they play. We've seen it a couple of times, but with the new defensive coordinator, I want to see whatever he's comfortable with. I don't want to make him go out of his comfort zone to try and do something that he's not. He's not. That's just not him. That's not his coaching style. And then he's going to get beat, and then he's going to feel weird, or just do what you think will work. You had a good outing against New England. Try and build off that. If it's increased blitzes to help your secondary, do that. But it could also screw your secondary, so you got to weigh it. Matt, I just got to ask. Are you mispronouncing Yadam on purpose because he's such a horrible player, or you just never you don't care to
I just don't care what his last name is.
I figured. All right.
Yidam, Yadam, Yadam.
Oh, you say Yidam?
Yidam.
Yidam?
Yadam is how you pronounce it, I think.
Yadam.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the guy's going to be on the bench Sunday if I had control of anything.
Yeah, I don't care.
Play green over.
Better than Rock Yassin. That's all I was concerned about.
Good point. Well, it is wild, right? That we said on here just 2 months ago saying if he's the 3, we're solid. And then every single quarterback this season has been like, he's right there. He's right there. He's right there. Yeah. And they all have a third receiver that is just able to beat him. Like, it's insane how many good wide receiver 3s there are in the league, apparently. I mean, damn, it really was. I was surprised to see how much he was targeted early on. But go with the rookie. Just go with the rookie, see what he's got.
If Mustafa, Hufanga, and Brown are available for this game, what duo of safeties are you guys running out? Not a trick question, just curious about you guys' personal preferences. So
you go Brown, Hufanga, and try to rotate maybe situationally Mustafa.
I agree. Brown and Hufanga are two similar play styles to have them both on the field at the same time, and both too slow, in my opinion.
That's exactly why I asked. But you both just said those two at the same time, and then the other guy being rotational.
Mustafa and Brown, and rotate in Hufanga, I guess. But
is that what you said, Matt?
What's that?
Is that what you said? Did you say
Brown,
Hufanga and Brown?
Yeah,
right. That's what I thought Matt said. Yeah,
yeah.
So you
with rotating Mustafa in.
I would give the nod to Mustafa, although I don't think they would, given Hufanga's veteran status over Mustafa. The names are too similar. I think my brain's tricking me up. Yeah. By the way, have you seen Sammy Womack balling out in Indianapolis? Son of a bitch. He's their best corner. I
tried telling people that he needed more opportunities here. The Niners didn't like what he was doing in run support, and I'm like, yeah, fuck the run. He's supposed to be in the secondary. But I digress. We said it multiple times. Like, when they called his number to play in the secondary, he was good. He was good, and they just we focus on such minuscule shit for the position that these guys play, and then we say, oh, well, those are the reasons you're not going to play corner, because you're not good against the run. And it's like, the fuck are we talking about? Like, there's 6 other people that are supposed to get there before me in the run game. Like, I don't understand why we do things like this. And then when another team goes and gets a guy and says, hey, what do you do well? Okay, we're going to put you there. We're like, man, he's really over there doing his thing, right? And it's like, duh. Like, because they're using him comfortably. You know, we've seen it over and over with multiple guys out of the secondary. So it's just the Niners thing. I don't know, man. They want this positionless football, and it's just not reality, man. Let these guys go out there and master their craft, and then you ask them to work on other things as the seasons progress.
Just look at Mike McGlinchey balling out and – I'm sorry.
Yeah, all right. I'm out of here now. I wish I could drop myself. I would have.
Your face. I never seen you so. That was such a. All right. It's earlier in the week, but we got to do the predictions, right? For offensive, defensive players of the game.
Sure. Yeah.
For this game. We can start that and start to wrap up, because I smell spaghetti is ready for me, and I got to go have some dinner.
Yeah, DJ Reed is another one.
DJ Reed,
exactly.
Ash
Spaghetti. All right.
Yeah. Offensive player of the game. I'm going to go first. And I'm going to take the easy one, guys. I'm sorry. Brock Purdy.
You stole him like 5 weeks in a row, you little shit.
Hey, he's been right. I've been right. I can't break with tradition. So Brock Purdy, I think he's going to have a great game. He's just on fire, MVP caliber, playing at the top of his level. I'm going to say Brock Purdy, and he's going to have 18 for 24 for another 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
He was very close
All
to
right.
that Sunday off of like 16 completions or something like that.
I want to hear Matt's. Can I hear
Oh,
Matt's
yes.
first?
Man, let's see. What am I gonna go with? I'm gonna go with. We're gonna keep the ball rolling with my man Jordan Mason. I feel like he's gonna have himself another 100-yard game, another touchdown, continue to make the 49ers feel a little bit better about Christian McCaffrey not being there, since this fucking thief over here steals Brock Purdy every week. Yeah. We're gonna do that one.
I should have gone before Matt. I'm definitely going with Mason. I like that, but I'll pick somebody else. But I do want to say that I think he has 2 rushing touchdowns this week.
Okay.
Because I think that the Niners, in preparation for a Thursday night game, kind of hold some of the passing plays to the vest. I think they showed something on purpose with the downfield throws, and then we're not going to see it this week, and that's what we're going to do on Thursday. So I think this is going to be more of a keep the ball away from the Cardinals, try to continue to be undefeated at home this season. I think that they work on that and they try to run the ball. With that said, though, I am going to go with Debo. I'm going to say that this is a Debo game. I think the Niners were really anxious to ramp him up. You guys, message right away, Mike, Debo's got 2 of the 3 carries so far, and then he ended up with 3 of the 4, something like that. Yeah. So I think that they were trying to ramp him up, get him back into his form and all that. I'm going to go with Debo Samuel. I'm going to say 4 carries on the ground. I'm going to say 6 receptions, combined total of scrimmage yards, 126, and a touchdown.
Damn. Okay. I'm not going to take the easy one on defense because I took the easy one on offense. So I'm going to go with the new guy that I just was talking up, Sam Okawanu. I'm going to say he has 2 tackles for losses and 1 sack, which is like 5 sacks when it comes to Kyler because the man is impossible to get down. And I think he's just a force in the run game. Give me Sam-O for my player of the game.
Wow. A rotational guy for your defensive player of the game. I like that's bold.
Let's do it. Let's do it, baby.
That's really, really bold.
What do you got, Mike?
Since we know where Matt's going to go, I was going to say I'll go next here. And I know the low-hanging fruit is Fred Warner, but I am not going to pick Fred Warner. I'm going to go with Yamadou Lenore with 2 picks. 2 picks in this game, no touchdowns. I'm not going to go that far. But I think he has a couple of PBUs, 2 interceptions. And he's just going to be playing like a man on fire out there. I think he can't wait for this game. I'm going with Yamadou Lenore.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah,
Hit us.
despite what everybody thinks, I'm not going with Nick Bosa this week. I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it because Nick Bosa does not fare well against mobile quarterbacks. He does not get enough pressure on those guys. So I'm going to go with Fred Warner. And like I said, he got close enough to the 3 sacks and a forced fumble last week that I'm kind of counting it. Again, you're talking about a foot away from having 4 sacks and a forced fumble. So,
It was close.
that's about as close as you can get without actually doing it. And I'd like to see him set the edge a little bit better and keep Kyler Murray inside the pocket. That notwithstanding, Fred Warner is even more vital than Nick Bosa in this game because he's going to have to patrol a lot of the middle of that field and eat up a lot of space because the Cardinals, with their threat of a running quarterback with Marvin Harrison Jr., who looks like he's a stud even though they're not getting him the ball enough, and James Conner being a very solid running back, along with Dortch and some of the other guys they have, you really have to be mindful of that middle of the field because they can stretch the defense in many different areas that are not beneficial for the 49ers with, Campbell and, maybe some of the, maybe if Mustafa gets in there, you pick on a rookie, or Green gets in there, you pick on a rookie, or Travarius Ward if he's not playing well. The defensive line has to get home, but I think Fred Warner patrolling the middle is actually the more important aspect of the defense for this game.
Very interesting. I thought if you didn't go Nick Bosa, I thought you were going to go with Leonard Floyd, if I'm being honest with the speed off the edge. That guy who has not really done much as far as sacks go for the 49ers. I thought that was going to be an option for us because, he was brought in for the speed aspect.
The problem is that Kyler Murray is shifty and small. So in a lot of ways, when the defense is collapsing, he seems to find a way out of those. So one thing that I noticed, again, it might be less of a problem if the 49ers blitz at a similar level that they did before, but with 4 rushers, you're ripe for the pickings for quarterback scrambles, because you're asking your defensive ends to really try to get home on Kyler Murray and also maintain gap integrity for a guy that is easily able to run for first downs. So I think it becomes a little difficult to ask all of that of Leonard Floyd or Nick Bosa. And I don't think, with as much speed as Leonard Floyd has, he's not as fast as Kyler Murray is. So it's going to be hard to maintain that. It would take effort from, like, say, a Nick Bosa creates a lot of pressure, and then you let Leonard Floyd clean it up on the backside or whatever. Yeah. That's really what it's going to be.
All right, final score predictions. I'll go first, same order. I got the Niners winning this one. I believe they're favored by 7, I want to say.
Wow. That's exactly what my difference is, too. That's nuts.
Let me pull it up here. ESPN has the Niners 7.5-point favorites. I got the Niners covering 27-17. Similar to last week's game. I just think they take care of business here. But they give up 17 points, so not nothing. What do you got, Mike?
I got 24-17. I got the Niners winning by 7. So I like the 17 points allowed. I'm going to go 24-17.
Okay, Matt.
There's something sneaky about this game that I just feel uncomfortable about in general. I think it's a lot closer than the spread or anybody else here is giving it credit for. I just think that the 49ers struggle again with getting off the field against the mobile quarterbacks, but I do have them winning 31-30. Close game.
Shit. Damn. Hopefully not.
What did you say, 27-30?
31-30.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you think they're not – never mind. I'm not even going to say it. That's fine. Okay.
No, say it, brother. Say it, brother.
I haven't seen a 49ers game where I'm comfortable with them in situational football having to stop the other team in the last seconds. I haven't seen it, whether it be half, whether it be at the end of the game. I just don't see them. They blew it against the Rams. We had the lead, protect the lead, and couldn't do it. The Super Bowl, I don't see it. The halftime, you got the score with the Vikings, you got the score last week with the Patriots. And again, I know it was a 75-yard field goal. I understand all that, but still, like a close game, they just seem to fold. They get into this bend but don't break thing, and they just give up too much. And if it's a one-score game like that, they might let these guys sneak in a field goal range. I hope that it's not that close, because I would literally lose it. I haven't bit my nails in months, which is a big thing for me. They would all be gone during the game if it was that close.
There you go.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that. We need the Niners to win comfortably. But they win this game. They're back up over 500, 3-2. The Seahawks, who are first in the NFC West, host the New York Giants, but they are coming off a short week. Maybe the Giants can pull off an upset, and then the 49ers and Seahawks will both be 3-2. I think it's going to do it for tonight's show, guys. Thank you very much for rocking with us. This was a recap plus preview. So this is going to be our Cardinals 49ers preview show. So the next time we'll be back is Sunday, I believe, after the game. But make sure you follow all of us on X so you don't miss any announcements for any shows. Mike, I'm sure the folks already know, but please know where they can find all the premium Nothing But Niners content.
Yeah, guys, head on over to the YouTube page. It's Nothing But Niners. And if you're there, by the way, our Patreon community is growing every single week. We are like 2 subscribers away from crossing over 14,100 subscribers. So please subscribe to the YouTube page as well. But get on over to the Patreon, patreon.com/NB9ERS. I am working on a way to make sure that game is on Thursday night for you guys. Again, if you guys are going there to watch the games, the $1 tier will only get the primetime games or Thursday night games, but every other tier will get the rest of the games throughout the regular season. So make sure you guys are there. Patreon.com/NB9ERS. And for everyone who is already subscribed to both of those, come on over to the 49ers Hive channel. Show my guys some love, please. Let's get these guys' numbers up.
That's right. Listen to Mike. Go check him out. Go check out the Patreon. Follow him on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you guys' support. Matt, without further ado, carry us out.
Yeah, listen, another important game. This one, as Mike has been so apt to point out the last few weeks, this is against an NFC opponent, not only NFC West. The 49ers, with a Seattle Seahawks loss, can be right there at the top of the division again. So taking care of business is of the utmost importance. So looking forward to the game. Another one. This one is at Levi's, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so another home game. Being comfortable 2 weeks in a row in your house, fans show up. If any of you are going to the game, show out for the 49ers. Got to get it done. So for Mike, for Zach, for myself, thank you as always for joining us. We love having you here. Oh, before we go, I want to say also Tom Brady will be calling this game on Fox.
That's right.
So
first Niners
it'll be interesting. I've only seen like little clips, but I'm interested to see how he actually does. So anyway, sidetrack, but yeah. So for everybody here, for myself, thank you guys as always for joining us. Until next time, go Niners.